So there is a digital to film to digital loop that offers filmmakers a creative control different from traditional workflows. And this is allowing them a level of precision in color and texture manipulation that brings out the best of their films. And what makes movies such as Dune unique is the original digital capture that is infused with organic, grainy textures and color dynamics that reminiscent film. Now the result is a masterpiece and difficult to achieve ourselves, but these days with software such as DaVinci Resolve, we can get somewhat close. Alright, so if you've seen my main videos, then now I'm actually going to show you exactly how I achieve the colors of those videos, because color grading doesn't have to be difficult if you use the right instruments. This is going to really allow you to speed up your workflow, and it's going to be very easy for you to follow along and do exactly the same thing. Alright, so I have 4 clips here in the timeline. 1 clip from David, who sent me this to test it out. Then we have 3 clips from my previous adventure in Jordan. So if you want to watch that video, you can check it out in the link in the description. And now I'm going to show you how I color grade all of them, so that you can see that the results are exactly the same and that it's a very easy workflow. So I have my node structure imported here. So I have it here in the gallery, and then I can just quickly import it. So I don't have to build it from scratch. If I want to edit the next clips, I just copy and paste it. So let's be very raw and let me show you how it's done. So basically on the LUT folder, I will drag and drop one of the LUTs, and as you can see, here's the before and after, and then I'll start color grading this. So I'll go to the white balance and change the white balance a bit, and then I'll go to the exposure and change the exposure a bit. You can change it with the curves, but you can also change it with the wheels. So I'll do that now. And then I'll go to the look and start changing the look a bit. So the look is actually very easy. You just go here, and in the you go here, and then in the log wheels you can change the highlights, midtones and shadows, but you can also change the lift, gamma and gain, which is what I do a lot. So if you really want to get this split tone effect, then you need to do some contrary color grading. So what that means is that in the gains or in the gamma you do these opposite colors. So for example, a little bit of yellow and bluish tints. So as you can see, that makes it look a bit warmer and a little bit more like old school, which feels like you are taking yourself back in time. So one thing I noticed here is that if I wanted to make it a little bit more filmic, I would tone down the reds a bit because they're quite intense, and I think it makes it look a little bit less filmic if they're that saturated. So I just go to the U versus Z saturation, and I take down the reds a bit, something like that. And then I think I'm going to play with the U versus luminance and make sure that some reds are standing out, and maybe some of her dress as well. And then what I noticed as well is, because I added this warm tone, I noticed that the background, the blues, are getting a little bit too warm. So I will tone them down and make them a bit more bluish again. Oh, sorry, I'm the wrong one. So I go to the U versus U, and there I make them a bit bluish again. So that looks pretty cool. And then what I do is I add a vignette. And then I invert the vignette, and I take down the exposure a bit. And then sometimes I track the subject, so you do that here. And you mask the subject. So for example, I could just mask her face and make her stand out a bit more. So then I click here on tracking, and it will track now. So now once it's tracked, I'll continue. All right, so now this is tracked, as you can see here. So what I can do is I can make it a bit brighter, for example. And then she stands out a bit more. So I think that helps a lot. And then what we do is we go to the sharpening, and then we just sharpen the image a little bit. So here the RGB, we put it at 0.48. And then at the end here, we add some grain. And in here sometimes, what I might do is I might add this this other LUT, the finishing LUT, which is like a bleach bypass effect, which will really make it look filmic. So it's a bit intense, so maybe I'll take down the intensity. And then sometimes certain parts of the image get very desaturated, so what I might do is I add another node, and I might take this saturation up there, or I just do it here. And then that's it for this image. So for the grain, I just go here and I type in grain. I drag on the film grain, and you can add whatever you want. So for example, 16mm looks quite cool always. And then the image is done. So this is the before, and this is the after. And as you can see, I did it in a couple minutes. And I think, because for me it's important that when I'm traveling, that it doesn't take too long to color grade. So I spent rather a lot of time creating these LUTs and then just using them always, instead of grading from scratch and making sure that it's like 10% better than it could have been with the LUTs, right? So now let's go on to the next one. So let's go into the gallery again. It should be fine. So let's drag and drop the LUT on. As you can see, it's quite warm, so let's go to the white balance and tone that down a bit. As I didn't have the LUTs loaded when I was shooting this on the camera, I probably just exposed it wrong. So if you want, you can load these LUTs onto your external monitor or onto your camera, and then you can expose correctly with the white balance. If you shoot an EV 1.7, these LUTs will always work really well, but you might just have to wrong white balance. So I would recommend shooting just like 5600 Kelvin if you want to get it correct. In this one, we can try to do some look, but I'm gonna do it maybe at the end, and then I'm gonna add a vignette first, because I quite like the colors already. So let's add the vignette, invert it, and then take down the exposure a bit, so that looks great. Sharpen it quickly as well. Let's add some grain. I would have probably gone with this one. And then at the end, what I do is I've made this LUT, which is very similar to a bleach bypass effect. So I do put that on there, and it makes it really look like a movie. So for some people that really like saturated images, maybe this isn't their style, but if you want to achieve something that looks a little bit more like for example, the movie Dune, then this works really well. So now let's copy and paste it onto this image and see how it looks. So let me show you before and after this bleach bypass effect LUT. So you can see it looks really cool. And then now let's check how it looks on this one. And it looks really cool too. So yeah, as you can see, it's very easy. If you want to get the same colors, just check out the LUTs and you can follow along, get the same results. I've made them quite cheap, and I'm 100% sure that they're worth it, because if you can get one client because of it happy, then they're already worth it, right? So make sure to check out the link in the description if you want those, and I'll see you in the next video.